Welcome to Inside the Ivy. It's Kyle Babcock on the Sports Report Radio Network. I'm on the phone with a guy. He's a slick fielder. He gets everything. He fields everything. He doesn't let anything past him. Plus, he's good at the plate. Andy Weber, welcome to Inside the Ivy on Sports Report Radio.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Hey, Andy, let's talk a little bit about you being a South Bend Cub and in the Cubs organization. What was it like for you this past year, putting on that Cubs uniform, the South Bend Cubs, and being with an iconic franchise like the Chicago Cubs?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. It was my first full season there, and for a lot of guys in my draft class, it was as well. And being in an environment in a place like South Bend was really cool and really special to see, as far as the coaches and the staff and the fan base, and Berlin is the owner. It was just a really great experience, and obviously winning the championship when it was all said and done, the whole thing was just a really great opportunity to grow and learn, and just a really just made a lot of great memories along the way.
Oh, that's great. Now, Andy, were you on the Eugene team that won the championship also the year before?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
So all right, so here we go. 2 years professional baseball, 2 league championships. What are you going to do for? What are you going to do for an encore for that? I mean, 2 years, 2 championships. How's that?
It was pretty cool. I don't really know how it worked out that way, but hopefully we can kind of just keep it rolling at this point. It's a lot of fun to play in those games, so I'm very fortunate for that.
So Myrtle Beach or Tennessee is obviously going to be a champion next year somewhere, possibly wherever you end up. It sounds like.
I don't want to jinx it too bad, but I sure will.
No big expectations or anything there, okay? But anyway, so let's talk about you, Andy Weber, a little bit. Andy, you play the infield. Do you like is shortstop? Is that where you like to be? Is that where you've always played? Have you ever played third base, second base, first, the outfield, or is that typically where you like to be?
So I've actually always played second base growing up, and I played second base in college. I played a little bit of third at the beginning of my college career. I floated around a little bit in Eugene between second, short, and third. And this is actually my first full season playing shortstop in South Bend. So I had to learn a lot of different things along the way about shortstop. It's a little bit different than playing second base. But personally, I love to play shortstop. I think it's challenging. It's a lot of fun. And anywhere pretty much on the middle of the diamond, I'm comfortable playing. So it was a learning experience for sure, and it was something that was useful for me going throughout the entire season. But I don't necessarily have a preference. I love to play anywhere in the infield.
Well, it sounds like the Cubs have a lot of confidence in you, because you've got to have a big arm to play shortstop. Because sometimes when you're deep in the hole, they're throwing the guys out. Have you had a pretty good arm and pretty good strength and pretty good speed through the years?
Yeah, I think the arm strength has always been something that's I've been pretty comfortable with, and I've worked on that a lot growing up, especially when you're at a young age. They always tell you to get your arm stronger, so I tried my best, and I think it's given me the opportunity to play on the left side of the diamond that maybe if I didn't have as good of an arm, I would be kind of stuck at second base or somewhere like that.
So, Andy, what's it like to put on that Cubs uniform, to think you're with an iconic franchise that's been there 100 years? There's a few franchises that have been around, but do you just kind of pinch yourself and think, I'm in the Chicago Cubs organization?
Yeah, I mean, it's a super cool opportunity and experience, and there's very few people that get to go through what we go through on a daily basis. So it's easy sometimes in the midst of the season to kind of forget what it's really all about. And I think having the logo, especially in South Bend, having the Cubs logo on your jersey is a great reminder of realizing how special the organization is and how special the franchise is. And you're constantly reminded, as it is, by the fan base and how well they travel. I mean, we can be just about anywhere. There's going to be plenty of Cubs fans there. So it's a super cool franchise to be a part of, and I'm extremely grateful for it.
5th round pick, 2018 draft. Is that correct?
Yep.
So you got picked by the Cubs. Is there a team that you followed growing up in baseball that was like your favorite team, or did you follow a wide variety of teams, or was there maybe a player that you tried to emulate to match your game after?
Yeah, so I actually grew up watching the Indians because I'm from Cleveland, the Cleveland area. So I grew up watching the Indians a ton. When they were playing against the Cubs in the World Series, I was rooting for the Indians. So it's kind of funny how the whole thing played out. But no, I got to say I'm a Cubs fan, which I am probably more than an Indians fan at this point. So it's kind of crazy how the whole thing works out. But I grew up watching a lot of Indians players. My favorite player growing up was Grady Sizemore, even though he's an outfielder. But that's kind of my baseball viewing background growing up.
Andy, this was your second year out at spring training. Obviously, this year didn't turn out like it was going to be, with it getting canceled. But what's it like walking in there at the facility, fabulous facility in Mesa, and looking around and you're seeing Javi Baez, you're seeing just these guys, you're seeing Rizzo, you're seeing Bryant. Are you starstruck a little bit, thinking, man, these guys are my teammates?
Yeah, it's very cool. It's interesting, and it's interesting to see how a lot of these guys go about their business and what makes every player unique from the rest. Everybody's got a certain routine that they do, whether it be in the weight room or infield or outfield or pitching or hitting. Everybody has, all the big league guys have a very meticulous routine. That's something I think a lot of guys in my group, a lot of the minor league guys take note of, and that makes them better. So it's watching big leaguers go about their business helps the minor leaguers, and I think the Cubs do a pretty good job of getting minor leaguers involved from the big league guys or from big league coaches, and really trying to learn what it's like to be at the top of their game. And so I think overall, when you put all those pieces together, it makes for a pretty successful organization.
Hey, Andy, you're an Ohio guy. How do you get to Virginia in college? Give us a process on that. Were you recruited to Virginia or someplace, maybe family connection there? How did it happen that you got from Ohio to Virginia for college?
Yeah, so I went to a bunch of college camps in high school. So I didn't play on a really high-profile summer ball team, so it's kind of tough for me to get recruited for schools that I wanted to go to from that team. So I went to a ton of college camps, and it was the winter of my junior year, and I had been to so many camps at this point, and I was kind of gassed and worn out from all these camps, and so Virginia was my last one for the year. Probably ever, just at this point, it being kind of later in the recruiting trail, your junior year. And I actually ended up playing pretty well, and they asked me to stick around after the camp. I met with the coaching staff, and 2 weeks later went on a visit, and that was kind of the end of it after that. But it was just kind of a lucky, right place, right time kind of thing.
Well, you being a fifth-round draft pick, you're pretty darn good. But I mean, fifth round, that's a really good player. So you did very well in college, but being selected that early, are there expectations on you that you just kind of put on yourself that the Cubs have invested a lot in me, that I've got to really produce, or do you just go out there every day trying to be the best you can be no matter what the expectations are?
No, I don't try to put any expectations on myself in that regard. I think once you get to pro ball and you're playing with all these other guys, whether they were drafted in the first round or whether they were drafted in the 40th round, you get everybody is in the same boat. Has the same opportunity. At the end of the day, you're showing up and you're playing baseball, and some guys maybe get more opportunities than another guy, and it's really just about making the most of each and every one that you have. So I don't necessarily like to put expectations or goals on myself in that aspect. I think if I kind of focus what's on front of me and focus on being a good teammate and things like that, the rest will kind of take care of itself. But it just makes things a lot easier that way for me and for everybody else.
Well, I know from my personal experience in interviewing a lot of the Cubs players and minor league players, the Cubs pick character guys besides talent. And you're obviously a character guy. You got the talent, but that says a lot about yourself. Going to college, learning about just kind of growing up and doing that, did that give you a head start going into minor league and with the major leagues possibly in the future? Has that been a big help for you for college?
Yeah, I think college was super useful for me. Just just being kind of in a situation where you don't really know what to expect. I really had no idea what college ball was going to be like, and you get there and you have 35 guys that you live with, that you spend the off season with, and some that you play summer ball even with. So you're with these guys 24/7 for 3+ years, and you don't really get to replicate that anywhere else. So I think college was super big as far as my development, both as a person as a player. Just the coaching staff and my teammates at Virginia really helped mold, really kind of helped mold me over the last 3 years, and ultimately kind of going into the draft and going into pro ball. It was super important, super useful for me. So I'm a huge advocate for a lot of guys going to college and kind of getting that experience.
Andy, you were a really good interview. I just want to thank you for taking your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.